Part 4. The Dol Guldur subplot. Before you freak out, I'm not saying the whole subplot was a bad idea. I'm just saying it was poorly executed, and I'm about to prove my opinion correct. So the whole idea that bad things are happening in the world is introduced in the first movie by Radagast. He's the one who tells Gandalf about the Necromancer and the Ring Wraiths. Gandalf buys into this and pitches it to the White Council, who more or less tell him to go away, except Galadriel. Then that's put on hold until a year later and almost 2 hours of screen time. Remember, according to the White Council, they do not know who the Necromancer is or what he wants. It's reintroduced in the Desolation of Smaug when we see orcs entering Dol Guldur and we hear the Necromancer chanting the inscription from the Ring of Power. Translation, it's Sauron. There, the mystery's solved and we're not even 15 minutes into the fucking movie. Then just a few minutes later, we see Beorn bring it up because he's been noticing weird shit going on in the area around Dol Guldur. So he says to Gandalf,
I remember a time when a great evil ruled these lands. One powerful enough to raise the dead. If that enemy has returned to Middle-earth, I would have you tell me.
Translation, he thinks it's Sauron. But Gandalf remains skeptical or at least unsure. I mean, I always knew it was Sauron because I did some reading before the movie came out, but in an unexpected journey, it looked like they were attempting at using the title The Necromancer as like a red herring for Gandalf to do some investigating into. Like a mystery. That way you could have all these cool spooky locations for Gandalf to go snooping around in and hope that he finds some clues. You know, interesting things to keep the audience guessing who the Necromancer really is. Then we see a made-for-TV recap that reminds us that the Ring Wraiths are back. Then 4 minutes later, they shoehorn in a narration for the sole purpose of reminding us that Galadriel is involved in the Necromancer shit, all while attempting to make a bush look scary. Then Galadriel says,
If our enemy has returned, we must know.
Wait, so now they're pretty sure that it is Sauron, even though the last time they spoke, they made it seem like they didn't have a good idea as to what the hell was going on in Mirkwood.
I fear this quest has set in motion forces we do not yet understand. The riddle of the Morgul blade must be answered. If our enemy has returned, we must know. Something moves in the shadows, unseen. Something moves in the shadows, unseen.
Wait, hold on. Is this narration supposed to be like a psychic conversation? Like it's happening now? Or is it a flashback narration? Oh fuck, I don't even care anymore. They seem to think it's Sauron now. Maybe it's because the hand-painted red eye is like Sauron's old symbol, so that made Gandalf and Galadriel think it was Sauron? I don't know. Either way, we're only 30 minutes into the movie and the audience knows that the Necromancer is Sauron, and he's back. And in case the words, our enemy has returned, isn't clear enough, they fucking show you. For anyone who wasn't born under a rock and hasn't seen The Lord of the Rings, a flaming eye means Sauron, and intercutting shots of the ring basically means that Sauron is back. So much for a mystery. Part 4, Section 1. Now that the audience knows with 100% certainty who the Necromancer is, it's time for Gandalf to try to figure out who the Necromancer is. Wait, what? This is totally backwards. Do I need to explain this? Basically, you give the audience enough clues to stay interested in the mystery, but not enough so they can figure it out before the characters. That way we don't look at the characters running around like they're idiots trying to solve a mystery we already figured out. But in the Desolation of Smaug, they decided to reveal the mystery first, then begin the clue searching. You might be saying, the same thing happened in the Fellowship of the Ring. We already know it's the Ring of Power, and then Gandalf has to figure it out? Yes, that is true. But from the time Gandalf suspects the ring to confirming his theory about it is a total of 7 minutes. In Desolation of Smaug, from the time that Gandalf suspects the Necromancer being Sauron to being sure about it, it's 43 fucking minutes. So for 43 fucking minutes, Gandalf is playing catch-up and boring the audience. Anyways, Gandalf confirms what he suspected and what the audience already knew for almost an hour by saying,
The enemy has returned. He is summoning his servants.
oh, wow, this is exciting.
Tyler is no ordinary hunter. He is a commander.
Gandalf seems kinda nervous, like a little bit. Even when they're on the enemy's doorstep, Gandalf looks kinda bored. Compare this to the Fellowship of the Ring when Gandalf suspects that Bilbo's ring could be the One Ring. His entire demeanor changes. He becomes nervous and on edge. He's frightened. This is effective on the audience because Gandalf has already been established as a smart and powerful being. Now that he's scared, it makes you realize how important the ring is and what's at stake. This is boring in comparison. He's basically discovered that Sauron is back, but he doesn't look like he gives a shit. Part 4, Section 2. Contradictions. Here's when the writing and directing choices for the subplot get weird and confusing. Even after they tell us who the necromancer is, they still try to treat it like a mystery. Gandalf goes for a hike up to the High Fells where the Witch King of Angmar is supposedly buried. We know this because they told us.
The men of the north took his body and all that he possessed and sealed it within the high fells of Rudal.
Oh god, that was so close. I'm on the edge of my seat. Then a bird flies down to the tomb and screams like a ring wraith, even though it's a fucking canary or sparrow or something. Then Radagast asks who's buried there. Gandalf only refers to him as
a servant of evil.
Even though we already know it's the tomb for the Witch King because they fucking told us at the beginning of the movie.
And sealed it within the high fells of Rudal.
Then he says,
One of a number. One of 9.
with like extra emphasis on 9.
One of 9.
Like this line was supposed to reveal to us, oh, it's the ring wraith, the guy who stabbed Frodo. But we, the audience, already knew it was the fucking Witch King because they fucking told us. Then they cut to some B-roll of a landscape because they needed to soften the transition from being in a tomb to being outside. Even though this looks like a location from the first movie. It's almost like Jackson was trying to cut this together as quickly as possible. Let's see, let's play that back.
One of 9.
But it cannot be the necromancer.
No, that's a little jarring. Did we get any like wides of this green screen set? No. Just grab a landscape and drop it in there. I gotta go take a piss.
9.
So now Radagast suddenly becomes skeptical about the necromancer raising the wraiths.
To Dol Guldur.
But it cannot be the necromancer. A human sorcerer could not summon such evil.
Even though when he was at Dol Guldur, he was attacked by a wraith. Retrieved the blade, saw the necromancer, and then quickly ran to tell Gandalf about it. He's the whole reason this subplot even exists, and now he's changing his fucking mind.
It cannot be the necromancer.
Then later he tells Gandalf that Dol Guldur looks empty.
It looks completely abandoned.
I'm not sure if he's just pointing out the obvious, or if he's trying to convince Gandalf that it's empty. He was fucking attacked in there. This is wrong. It's like the writers forgot what happened in the first movie when they were shooting pickups. And yes, this is a pickup shoot.
But I thought it would be good just to look back at the pickups that we did in May, June, July this year. Action.
This whole vlog is explaining how rushed they are to finish shooting pickups. There's like people running around. The guy who used to be a storyboard artist is directing the Splinter unit. I guess there's a lot of stuff to shoot because they realized how shitty the movie was turning out. So it's likely this contradiction slipped under the radar, or they just didn't give a shit. There's also a pretty big difference from the Radagast of A Desolation of Smaug versus the Radagast of An Unexpected Journey. It's like Peter Jackson saw how much people hated Radagast for being an annoying, unfunny character that felt totally out of place. So they decided to cut down his role in this movie and reshoot the scenes with Radagast to make him, you know, less annoying. I do like how Peter Jackson says that he wanted Radagast to be like an old forgetful professor, but I never felt this way about Radagast in the first movie. He just felt like an idiot with the staff.
Peter really wanted to push Radagast's character further than maybe we all had realised.
He regurgitates birdseed.
Desolation of Smaug, they seem to have been a little closer at hitting that mark. For example, when Radagast and Gandalf are walking, Gandalf stops to look around, but Radagast is clueless and keeps walking, and he like does a little double take when he notices. At least that's how I interpreted it. You know, a little visual joke. This is subtle. This is retarded. They even cut out the bunny sled as much as possible, because someone must have finally slapped Peter Jackson and yelled in his face how fucking dumb it was. We only see it for like 4 seconds in a wide shot, and even then it's partially blocked by foliage. Compare this to the big reveal I got in An Unexpected Journey and an entire action sequence surrounding it. Even the way they shot some of these scenes is like they're hiding Radagast as much as possible without it being obvious. Carrying out dialogue and Gandalf's close-ups.
The power in that fortress will only grow stronger.
Wide shots where you can't see him. Or putting Gandalf in the foreground in an attempt to soften the blow of actually seeing the bastard. Actually, if you time how long Radagast is featured in An Unexpected Journey versus The Desolation of Smaug, and again in the Battle of Five Armies, it makes it quite clear that Peter Jackson knows that people hated Radagast, so they adjusted him reshoots and in the editing suite. It's like he was caught with his pants down. They obviously don't care about the characters they write, just how well received they are by the audience, who, you know, Section 3. It's now redundant and doesn't make any sense. So Gandalf acts like a dumb lead from a haunted house movie and just wanders into Dol Guldur alone because...
It's undoubtedly a trap.
I still don't get this. Is it supposed to be that he wants to be captured so that the White Council will, like, come and save him? Because that doesn't make any sense. This is what should have happened instead. Gandalf uses his psychic connection with Galadriel to be like, "Hey Galadriel, Radagast and I went and checked out the Witch King's grave in the High Fells and he's not there, so that proves that Sauron's back. We need your help." And if he's out of the telepathic service area and his bars are low, then he should be like, "Hey Radagast, we need to go find the White Council right away. We shouldn't do this alone. That'd be stupid." Then they hop on Ratty's bunny sled. No, I take that back. They hop on horses, because this is Middle Earth, not a fucking cartoon. And they ride as fast as they can to the woods of Lorien, which is actually not far. And they tell Galadriel themselves. Then the White Council gathers and attacks Dol Guldur. You know, exciting shit that makes sense. They could even take it a step further and have Saruman still being like a skeptical prick. But then Radagast and Gandalf put him in his place. You know, interesting character conflict. Or Gandalf could just wander in without a plan, you know, whatever, I don't give a shit. So now Gandalf is a video game character who just learned the spell lifting ability because he leveled up after fighting some orcs last movie. Luckily we have subtitles to explain exactly what he's doing. You know, in case we're stupid. Then a little guy jumps 10 stories onto Gandalf and they fight. Turns out it's Thrain, who is Thorin's father and had the last dwarven ring. Wait a second. Apparently dwarves can grow their eyes back. That or Peter Jackson is still in the habit of making changes after they start shooting. I'll let you decide. We find out that Azog took the last dwarven ring from Thrain for Sauron, and that's how Sauron is back. I think.
They took it. The last of the seven.
He also explains how Sauron and Smaug are in league, and like, you know, they're working together. I still have no idea why this was cut from the theatrical version. It thickens the plot. Only slightly, but it's better than nothing. Anyways, then Thrain gets sucked into Sauron and the sound editors decide to have a laugh. Then we have an obvious visual reference to the Fellowship of the Ring. You know, Gandalf on a bridge, fighting evil with a white light. Except this was interesting.
I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor. The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun!
By saying that he's a servant of the secret fire, you know, Gandalf gives a hint into his backstory, revealing that there's much more to him that we've ever seen. It makes him more powerful.
Go back to the shadow! You shall not!
This is dumb. It's like Peter Jackson was like, let's have a light versus dark battle to symbolize the good versus evil. Wow, that's so fucking deep. Then it's finally revealed that the necromancer is Sauron, even though they told us that over 90 minutes ago. So I'm not sure if Gandalf is just saying Sauron's name because he feels like it, or if he's literally just figured it out now.
The enemy has returned.
But he knew it was Sauron way back here, so why is he saying names out loud? Probably because Peter Jackson was like, I don't want to lose any of my audience. I'll just have Gandalf say Sauron to make it clear. And it's pretty obvious who the fucking villain was. Then Sauron zooms into our faces over and over because Peter Jackson thought it looked cool, even though it looks like shit. One of the poorest written fucking subplots I've ever seen. Done.